back another Saturday at noon on our Black Media Network with the Watchdogs, and we have part two of last week's discussion around activism, voting, changing the nation, especially after we come off of a uh, a runoff situation and a Tuesday election that kind of was favoring Democrats. But good morning to you, Chris and Julius. How are y'all?
Good morning.
Good morning. Doing great. Feeling amazing.
Awesome. Well, I wanted to kind of kick off. We left off last week with a few things, and some of our people from last week couldn't join us for a lot of different reasons. But y'all, let's start with this here. We talked a lot last week about the importance of being engaged and understanding voting, and we had Brother Salim talking about some good pieces of a lot of great things. But one of the things that strikes me is that if we don't get out to vote, we got folk like Herschel Walker that could slide in. So let's just kind of start down on that. Like, if we don't get out to vote, what the consequences that are of that are, and if we don't realize what's at stake, sometimes we see the negative aspects of voting, but we also see the negative aspects of not voting. So, what are y'all thoughts about that?
Chris, go ahead.
Well, what I say, especially regarding the Herschel Walker situation, a lot of stuff I've been coming about it was saying that it was a very nerve-wracking thing to see based off of the people who he had backing him, which were important people. It was a lot of funding placed into that. And I think it's really just showing a lesson of you play your role or else somebody else will play that role for you. And it may not be the person who you really wanted to play that role. And the thing is, if we don't realize the power that simple things like this has, we will have other people placed in those positions that may not have the best intentions for us. And that's how you end up with situations as such. So that's why I was really saying back then of like, me voting is really, I want to change the narrative behind it, the details behind it to make it make sense for people in my age range. And that's really just showing like, yo, these are a lot of tools that you already have access to. Now, broadcasting as if that's the only thing to do, I think that's where we mess up at. And that's where I come in to step in and say, hey, this is not the only type of thing. Know that you got a voice as well. And that's another thing I want everybody to really, truly remember. You don't have to be a certain age range to feel like your voice is now credible. Your voice is now powerful. You have a voice no matter who you are, no matter what age you are. And you just got to make sure that you either surrounded by some people who can be able to nurture that voice for you and play that role, or you behind somebody that's doing that for the way that you want to do it. But just to bring it in full circle, that Herschel Walker situation was really showing everybody, step up and play a role. You don't have to have all these different degrees to be able to say something and be able to make a change. So that's my take on that.
Very good. That's a very good take because, what we have to show people is that your vote matters, especially when you got people voting against everything that you need and all the resources that you need. Herschel Walker is not going to provide for you. Herschel Walker doesn't give a flip about anybody from this community. And he's shown this over and over again all his life. All he's ever been was a do boy who they gave money to act a fool. So it shows these young people that what they need to do is participate in the process. Participate in the process so you can get some things done. It might not look like you're getting nothing done. You might not win every time with the person that you vote for, but you're participating. You're participating. You can now go and tell that person, hey, I voted for you. What can you do? But if you didn't vote for this person or you didn't vote at all, you don't have no reason to complain. Everything in the world is great to you. There's no need in you trying to change anything because this is the American process. This is the way that we do things. You might have a bright idea. Somebody out there might have a bright idea of wanting to change things in a different way. But do you know how long it won't happen in your lifetime? It took a long time for them to get the process that we got now. So you got to work within that process to change it. You can't just tell me you're going to start a third party. They're going to laugh at you. Third parties don't work. You might have a little bit of pull, but you get inside the party that you're already in and make the changes from within there. Put your strength in there. We showed you right here in Chatham County how to do that with the CCDC. We went in a body that was already there and took it over. Same thing you got to do on the national scene. But I talk too much. Y'all go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It leads me to think too. We see a lot of celebrity faces show up, in particular with Warnock and Spike and Lynn join the conversation. And I'm not sure if that helped or hindered. We see President Obama join the conversation. We see President Trump join the conversation. Does that help y'all or does it hurt? Chris, what's your thoughts on that?
This is it's a touchy topic because a lot of individuals I don't feel have gotten to that state to be able to truly see what's going on. And this is really a case of, if you don't recognize the value within you before somebody else does, you may end up being used as the pawn. And this is a tactic of the influence that we have, black, white, it don't matter what color you are, the influence as a celebrity. And a lot of politicians, or whether anybody who's pushing a type of movement, they utilize the influence that you have to be able to push certain agendas. So with this case, I don't feel like it's beneficial to get uninformed celebrities to push a movement when they don't even know what the movement truly is. And a lot of times they do that to make themselves or whatever brand that they're pushing to look good when they don't even know the actual details and back office of what you're even pushing. This could be going against the people who stays in your community and you're not doing it. But the fact that it looks good on social media is why you want to do it. And it may open you up for more funding opportunities because you can dress up the social media nice. So this is really a case of, we got to be able to cut through a lot of the filibusters and the BS and really just see it for what it is. And a lot of times we need to make sure that we're placing people in those positions that know what's going on, like really know. But a lot of these celebrities that are being placed in these positions, they have no full information of what they're doing. And this could cause a hinder because the celebrities have a major connection and tie with youth. So the youth, a lot of us not doing the book reports, going to the seminars, going to the meetings to really see and hear the conversations of what's going on. They going straight to social media. And once you go straight to social media, who you see? Celebrities pushing it. So the fact that this celebrity pushing and I like their song, that must be the best way for me to go. And that's how a lot of these people are making some of their decisions. And I feel like it's a hinder. It's definitely a hinder.
Yeah. Well, and if I could add, just let me give you a different type of question, very related. Lil Baby is probably the most popular hip hop artist in Georgia. And I asked this on another show, but I'm going to get your perspective in addition to what Chris just responded to. And that why didn't maybe Stacey Abrams and Warnock leverage the relationship with Lil Baby? I mean, he's well known. The young people like him. That garners a different kind of, excitement. So, I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, you're not going to get them to go with Lil Baby too much. And the reason being is too much. I mean, you're going to get that audience. If you want Lil Baby to do something, she didn't have to appear with Lil Baby. She should have had Lil Baby going out to talk to the youth about doing that. But Lil Baby probably don't want to vote himself. I don't know. But I would have had those celebrities going different places. There's no need in them being on the bus with you. Spike Lee should have been out to Savannah State and Georgia Southern. Then you should have had Lynn Whitfield talking to all the older groups with the AKAs and the Deltas and all, and had some big event with her. Rally these people to get out, to get the people out. See, when you tell us that Spike Lee coming and Lynn Whitfield coming, and we're surprised that Lynn was on the bus, we knew about Spike, but and all you invited was a certain group of people. What you should have did was rented the Civic Center and brought them to the Civic Center with you. You know, you brought them to a private event almost. Well, it wasn't private; it was open to the public to the public that knew. Because a lot of people called later on saying, "I didn't know they were in town. I didn't know they were in town." But if you have a big enough event and showcase these people and tell the people who support you to bring somebody with you. You're gonna use the celebrities, use them right, like the man just said a second ago. You got to know how to use them, and you just put up something where the man say you got to use them, know how to use them. But Lynn Whitfield, Spike Lee, he could add. This was a very important race that it shouldn't be in no runoff. We knew what was going to happen with the Republicans. They didn't care whether Herschel was the dumbest guy, damn near the dumbest black man to ever go to college. They didn't care about that. You know, all they cared about was putting somebody in there that's going to toe the water and toe the line for them. You know, so this is all important. You know, on why you have to participate, because see, they know that you're not. They're counting on you not to participate. The young people, they're counting on you not to. So you have to be able to say, I'm going to do something different. They know I'm not going to do this here. I'm going to show them that I am.
Yeah. And really quick, y'all, I want to give a shout out to Jay Jones. You know, his frat, Omega Psi Phi, celebrated their Founders Day this past week, and to Pat Harris. And the reason why I want to give Pat Harris a shout out, Dr. Pat Harris in Savannah, she and Savannah Alumni Chapter Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated have been on the forefront of all of this work, have done great work in educating voters. And I think that's an important thing. And I want to go to a comment that Ivan Cohen just made. We might need to be doing some more political science workshops in the community. Ivan, I think you're right. I think even civics education, voter education, all of that. How do we get that done with community groups like Delta Sigma Theta and the churches and all of that, Chris?
I would say for one, making it more relatable, and to put that in the best terms. If we want to have more a youth interaction, we can't be so focused on how it's being dressed up, but more so the context. I came across this video the other day. I can't remember this brother's name, but it was a comment saying, "Yo, we're putting we're putting glaze on stale donuts." So it's more so we got to make sure the contents is fully digestible for no matter the age, because the thing that plays a part. A lot of us have certain resources to get education, and we may have people in our home that's able to teach us certain things, but everybody isn't aware of those resources. So a lot of times when we using a lot of big words and using a lot of just different analogies that may not fully connect, it'll make somebody kind of turn the other cheek because they don't feel that they're capable enough to even understand that. So they like, I don't even want to try to do it, even though it really may be simple. So I say the best way is, for one, showing up to where they're at. Come to their world, and that is not saying to show up at parties and stuff like that, but there's particular events that they may have in their home. I know a lot of the sororities and fraternities, they got particular events they got on a weekly basis. It may be on the campus and maybe at an open public spot. A lot of teens, they're at a different type of entertainment events and venues. So just showing up there to let them know, hey, I see you, and I'm able to come over here too to show you that I care. And look, you can actually come over here and bring more value back to there. So just showing up at these places and making sure that we're presenting it to them in a way of like, you can do this too. I'm not going to make it appear as if you're not able to take a place in that. So showing up and making sure the information we're giving them is digestible so they'll want to be able to do it.
Okay, pretty good. That's the only way to make it relatable, Robert, is to, to make it happen is to make it relatable. Like Chris said, you can't reach these people unless there's something in common with them. You can't keep running to the churches when they don't go to the churches. Go someplace where like Ivan said, the churches are played out. I mean, as far as meeting there, the churches have played out. We still need the church because everybody needs some type of spirituality. Because if not, you're gonna have chaos and the devil running around.
Mhm.
The devil running around in them. Um, but yeah, we got to be able to get if the church only opens their doors uh, for on Sundays and for mass meetings for the NAACP. And we got to get the church to open their doors outside of the church. You can open the church doors somewhere else. Go out to Savannah State to the auditorium. Call all the pastors out there and tell everybody to be out there. Let me tell you something. When you have a group and it's a large group and somebody passing by, guess what they want to do? They're going to stop because they want to know what's going on. But if you got 2 or 3 people there and you out there, ain't nobody stopping. They keep it rolling. They going to keep it moving. So, you got to be able to bring these people out. All these pastors that's back in McWarnock, where are your congregations? Bring the congregation with you. You're already there. So there ain't no separation of church and state. Come on out. Bring your whole congregation. Tell them we meet here on Sunday. That's what they need to be doing. They don't listen now, but they'll listen later on. They'll listen later on. We told you what was going to happen before the election even happened last Tuesday. We told you what was going to happen.
And if I could kind of segue off of that, I think, we have Benny Mitchell that will be doing some work with ATR soon in our Black media. His father, Reverend Mitchell, probably, uh, from my knowledge, in my lifespan, has been the last pastor that was willing to be an activist outside of the pulpit and inside the pulpit. He wasn't afraid to go to City Hall and push the envelope. In fact, he was probably the main reason Rosikis ran scared and was not reelected at that point. And I don't understand what's going on with our churches. And there's no slight to any churches, but one church that I am really, really proud of and affiliated with is New Birth and Pastor Jamal Bryant in Atlanta. I don't know Julius, you'll start with this one. What's going on? Where has the activism gone? Is it really just about the 501c? Is it really just about the money and the planes they're trying to get and cell phones? And what is going on? Where is the activism in our churches?
Well, see, they're fooled. They've been tricked to think that the 501c is really beneficial to them. It's enough stuff that they can write off as a business. Run the church with your LLC. Don't worry about it. Pay your taxes. Because it's enough stuff for you to write off that you don't have to pay no taxes. You can write off the mileage for the bus, the gas for the bus. You can write off all the utility bills. You can write off almost everything. There's something for you to write off if you own a business. And these churches need to stop worrying about saving some money, and they need to start saving the people. Because when you talking about being a nonprofit and you can't have church and state, yeah, you can do what you want to do in that building. You can do what you want to do in that building. It's about saving the people. It's about how you work this community, how you're working within this community. But when all you worrying about is a tax break, then you selling the people out. These churches should be jam-packed. Candidates should be going there, talking to people every Sunday, telling them that they're there for them. The other side ain't there for you. So why would you invite somebody that you don't like to your house? That's not for you to your house. That's asinine. But as soon as we could get away from that, it'll take a little while for these churches to wake up, because they can write off everything. They can write off the choir robes. They can write off the utility bills. They can write off the mortgage to the church. They can write off everything, the work that they do in the community, the food drives. They write all that off, and get just as much as a 503c. But anyway,
Chris, you're in a younger age group, Chris, and so how does that show up? And take that same question, but frame it in the sense of how does that show up with a age group of, I don't know if you consider yourself Gen Z or whatever you consider yourself. Well, I would say pretty much individuals who 25 and younger. How does that show up What does that mean when we take that same question and put it in that framework?
So the way that I say it, it shows up the church for this generation is like social media now. It's meme post. It's it's 15-second TikTok clips that may got a bold. The lettering may look bold, so it may look more professional, and it's like, okay, that's what it means now. It's like it's shifting, and the way that I feel would best kind of reverse that is more so, like I said, just bringing it back to real life. I don't. A lot of people aren't showing up to the places that a lot of these people feel they need to show up at. So, for an example, I would say the church is a great place for people who is like, okay, I'm ready and I'm open now. But a lot of people still be kind of like halfway open and halfway closed, and there is like no middle ground. Like, what about it's like hood church? Where's that middle place at? That's like for people that could be. They kind of feel like they need to go, and they kind of feel like they don't. It's like it needs some type of middle area, and right now that median area is social media. Not saying that that's what it's supposed to be, but the majority of where that stuff is taking place is on these social media platforms. So I just, that's how it's turning up in today's time. It's turning up in today's time from small clips, and that's from that instant gratification aspect. Things are so fast and in our face now. There's so many advertisements that's popping up every 30 seconds of a video that you're clipping, pictures that may have like been speaking on some stuff that you was just talking about. So those different things are playing a part. So when it's time for us to show up in person, a lot of people are still going off their thought process of what they just seen on their phone. So it's really we're battling with the media and our consciences, and we just have to continue. Like I said, conversation like this is doing it justice, but also us being in person. I remember shouts out to Soul Tribe, but Soul Tribe, we had a Spirit Bomb festival earlier this year, and Mr. Hall showed up. he actually has showed up, and he was like, "Yo, I want to be able to come to your Freestyle Fridays." I'm just like, wow, that's just something that you really don't be seeing too much, because a lot of people they got preconceived notions of feeling like it may be dangerous or whatever type of things, when in actuality you showing, we may want you to be coming up, and it may be very good. So it's just that different perspective. But right now we battling with the media, and the media is now viewed as the new church for a lot of these
That's
individuals.
powerful. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
You
what we
know,
have,
go ahead.
we have to pour into these young people. And I took an interest because I know that we have to bring out the talent. It's a lot of talent, and a lot of the kids just want you to listen to them. They just want you to listen to them, instead of just trying to direct them all the time. And when they're 17 to 21 years old, that's that age right there where they're trying to find themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to find themselves. And we can't, when we press them too hard, then they turn away. But I was interested in all this stuff because I like to see our people thrive, instead of taking a dive. You need to thrive. And I wanted to come to the Spirit Bum because it was something I wanted to see what y'all were doing so I could see how I can help y'all build it up. It's another group here called Young Black Professionals. Great organization, but they don't have that staying power. They need to be on top of things. They could change everything in this city if they knew their power. They don't know their power yet. If they knew their power, they would be on top of things, making things happen. I want to come to Freestyle Friday because I'm a poet, and I want to be. I like to listen to poetry. I like to listen to how other people think, what's going through their mind, but we have to take an interest in these young people all the time. I got two over here now. Doing computer work and stuff. But I took an interest in them, so that they can not be in the street acting a fool. They can be around me doing something positive. They can see what I'm trying to do, so they can help build it. The same place you
Right.
came from, you know,
Yeah.
you ain't no, you're the best intern I ever had.
Mhm.
You know,
And
and
it's
I,
stuff, simple stuff like that is stuff that we will remember forever. Because it's like, even if, let's say, if I was somebody who coming in that time and I may have been involved in some things that may not be the best, I may not be proud of, coming across an individual who was I could tell they see me. It If I was going to go do some negative stuff or whatever, that's gonna pop up in my mind like, dang, this might not be a good look. What if I get something like that and he end up seeing just simple stuff like that, and it trickles down into like it trickles down into everything, business, politics, whatever. It simple interactions like that trickles down. So just really just showing that interest, and that doesn't mean that you have to like or love everything we doing. A lot of people, they may have the talent, but they may not know the business behind it to know that this could actually be a real thing. Like you can really sustain yourself, be able to build, pay your bills, and live off of this.
Mhm.
Certain conversations like that are being had as well. So a lot of them, they don't know that there's a way for you to truly thrive in that field. But simple stuff like that is what goes a long way. So I just wanted to put that out there, like just showing little interest in those manners, that'll change somebody's whole viewpoint of how they even look at themselves. And I feel like that be the real powerful things that be taking place. And that'll make somebody also want to come to the events, speaking about getting awareness on voting, speaking about awareness and mental health and stuff, different stuff like that, because of little interactions as such that you just take through your whole life. But that's just my viewpoint on that one.
That's perfect. Yeah, we're going to step away for a commercial break. Give us about 45 seconds. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. And Chris, great commercial as always. We really are excited for your talent. But and we talk a little bit more about it. I want to kind of connect the dots for our viewers. In the churches, and I'm not picking on churches today. It's just one of these organizations that was at one time a powerful impact in our community. It was that place where people went for nourishment, engagement, and guidance, and now it's just become, in some instances, a capitalistic institution. But we have a lot of people in the church that we would consider, like you hear people say holier than thou, or are very spiritually given, drifted, and use scripture for everything. But why don't they use scripture when it's time to go vote? Why don't they use the mentoring pieces we talked about to get younger people to vote? Why don't they use their cars and their miles and their money to get people out to vote and to change the narrative?
so,
Mm.
you talking to Chris?
Okay.
No, we'll start with you.
Wait a minute, I didn't hear the question because somebody had walked in.
Okay. Now I was saying, we have these churches filled with people who are evangelical, or we call them holier than thou when we were growing up, or they quote scripture on everything. They'll tell you scripture about everything you're doing, but yet won't vote themselves a lot of times. Won't encourage the congregation to go vote. Won't use that same money that they're gonna buy that jet and Cadillac with to go get the congregation to go vote. But yet can pronounce all these scriptures and all these things upon people. What has happened in those institutions where all of this stuff, this capitalism has overtaken activism and real participation and motivation.
Well, it's really about money now. The church has gotten away from trying to save souls. They want to save money, um, and and that's just a problem. The church was the most organized place that we could go back in the day. Now it's the most disorganized. Why is there a black church on every corner? We got 900 of them here in Chatham County. Why? When the other uh, races don't leave it. How many white churches do you see in Savannah? How many white churches do you see in Savannah?
Wow.
Probably 7, 8, 9 total. But how many black churches you see? 900. If we so close to God, why we suffer so much? We got 900 churches here. Somebody got to talk to me about this. Y'all doing something wrong. Everybody want to open up a church because it's about money. It's about money.
Mm-hmm.
It's about money. And we got to get away from that. We got to be able to help our communities. The church is really a detriment to our community right now, really, because they're doing things opposite of what we're trying to do in this in our communities to uplift our people, and that's the problem with it.
Chris, what are your thoughts on that?
That was it's like for example, piggybacking off of that, would it be 7 to 8 white churches, but 900 white businesses in that area, and then the vice versa when it's coming to us. And it's that, and just like you said, it's about the money thing. From my perspective of even how we are being able to see it, it comes off as if it's just about the money thing. I attended a real estate, and this was shocking to me. I attended a real estate event about last month with a friend of mine who she's diving into real estate. So I've been trying to just learn the game as I can while I'm going through the ranks. And she ended up inviting me to this event. So I went to the real estate event, and there was a couple of vendors there, and there was one of these people speaking about just getting into it. And it was a young man who raised his hand, and they was asking about nonprofit work. So he raised his hand. And he was like, so when I make the nonprofit, how do we make the money? And then the dude who was the speaker was like, well, if that's why you in it, that's probably not the reason why you want to do it. And then the dude just kind of sat down. But it's the fact that he really thought like that was okay in his mind. He like, nah, the nonprofit is for making the money. And it's like, at what point did we get to the point to feel like that's the way to do it? Because when you go through that route, you're using the word of God. You're using these things that's truly close to our heart to get to us. But the end game is only for a personal gain. And if that's the case, why didn't we just go into business together? So it's just, I think it comes from misinformation. And it's so much different information out there now that's just being shot at you every which way. Everybody's starting a business. Everybody is a psychologist online. So it's so many different things that's going on, and it's a lot of misinformation. So it needs like some refocusing and to be able to focus. I know a couple of things. I make sure every day at least I watch Earn Your Leisure. I watch Our Black Media, and just different platforms such as that, the Pivot Podcast, stuff like that, because it's dealing with stuff that we really need. I know Earn Your Leisure is a Black financial platform, and they speak about financial literacy topics that's very digestible to us, and it's like, dang. And what they did, they combined the entertainment aspect with the financial aspect. They know a lot of us view the financial terminology, it may be coming off very boring and mundane, but they say, you know what? People are so attracted to concerts and the smoke and the music and the lights and everything. Let's just take those aesthetic aspects and apply it to the financial aspects. So they had this one event called Invest Fest, and it's basically they had a lot of different speakers there speaking on financial literacy, investing and stuff, but they combined it with music, entertainment, and it had over 15,000 people in the city of Atlanta come out. So they're like, okay, I see that's what it is, and that's something that Mr. Hall and them was doing earlier as well. You know, they was like, okay, we're going to get more people tied into the elections. Let's get some performers. And that was like the start of all this stuff. So I say that to say that is a way to be able to tie things in and keep it mixed in together. But our focus does need to change. There's a lot of misinformation out here, and it gets us to be believing all type of other things that may not be true.
Yeah. Chris, I want you to start with this. I'm going to give y'all a quote, and I want y'all's reaction. Malcolm X talked about this a long time ago in regards to political engagement. And he stated, if you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. If you're not
Wow.
careful, the newspaper will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. Chris, start with that.
Yeah, nah, that is powerful. Shouts out to Malcolm X as well. And he's a Taurus. I'm a Taurus as well. But Malcolm X, that is a powerful quote. And as I've just been getting deeper into the media field, I got into the media field. I'm an artist, but I got into the media field so I can be able to learn some of these things myself. And one, learn how to sustain myself. And also just, I wanted to know the back office of these things. So I'm not just carelessly doing it. And with me, that's when I've been really seeing like, oh, wow, you can really dress stuff up any way that you want, which is extremely dangerous to people that don't know that. You can really dress up. A rotten apple with the prettiest of apple skins, and people won't know. And then you could post it, and people feel like this is the apple that they need to buy. When in actuality, the true apple may not have as many views and likes as the rotten apple does. So the views and likes is the credibility now. You know, and I bring this up a lot of times. If money is a belief system, if we got a lot of people to believe that money is valuable, therefore it's valuable, it's the same thing with the media aspect. It's like another belief system form. A lot of likes makes individuals who may not be aware of, they may not be going to the offices like you all are and stuff like that. But if this like a 5,000 likes or something like that, oh, this got to be real. This is what we got to do. I believe we're seeing something like that happening with Kanye right now. Somebody who was speaking up. I'm not agreeing nor disagreeing with his. I'm just bringing this up as an example for the audience. Please don't tear me down. But I'm saying, as Kanye has been speaking up on what he's doing and speaking up on his viewpoint, we've seen every social media platform dehumanize him. We're seeing his endorsements fall. So how does that look for people who want to be activists, people who want to speak up? Not saying that he's pushing the right message or not, but for people that just want to speak up, it's like, dang, if I speak up, my money is going to be attacked. How I'm going to take care of my family? If I speak up, everybody is going to push the media to make me look as if I'm a fool. This seems like a suicide mission, at least for people that don't know the behind the scenes when they just see in the media. So we really do have to be aware of what we are seeing. And this stuff plays a major influence on our subconscious. The last Watch Dawgs show about 2-3 shows ago, I believe it was Mr. Bryant's friend. It was the man who was working with the students and the people in the healthcare and stuff. He was saying, look, I got to tell these young men, you know, the truth as far as it's not getting too caught up with the distractions and stuff, because it'll take you away from the true goal. So we have to be aware of how this social media is affecting how we view stuff, especially for my age.
All right. And let me piggyback on that because the only good thing about Kanye's fall is that he's not going to fall too far because he's rich. So the main thing that we wake up every day for is to search for God, to search for love, and to search for money. What else Kanye need? Kanye got all the money he needs. Now, the only good thing about the fall of Kanye is because Kanye wasn't no big advocate for the Black community. He might have said some things, but he said more things I think that were detrimental than were helpful. But the only good thing about Kanye's fall is that somebody can take his place. They're going to be looking for the next Kanye. So somebody else can move on up. You see? Somebody can take Jay-Z place. Somebody can take LeBron place. You see what I'm saying? It's people in waiting. LeBron is doing awesome things, awesome, and he's showing it so people can look at it. And a lot of people say, "Well, he just don't like to show he give." No, other people need to see that you're giving, so that they can give also if they got. That's what it's all about. Giving, giving back. But that's the piggyback off of that Kanye thing. But the media, Malcolm X was dead right about that. The media will make you hate the oppressed people and love the people that are oppressing. You see that every day here. We have politicians that people love who are really oppressing us. Let's not even make it about our community. Take Donald Trump. He's oppressing poor people, but they love him. You see, the crazy poor people love him. So the media, if you have to be careful with the media, we try to give you information that for this community, for our community, and let you decide. We might give our opinions on it, but if you look into whatever we're talking about, then you can see why we are saying what we say. So, you have to watch the media in all forms of it.
All right. Well, gentlemen, we're going to do our last commercial. And when we come back, we have a loaded question, and we'll close out with that for today. Back. So as we close out, y'all, I'm gonna answer this one first. As we look to the future, we vote on issues, we vote on legislation, we vote on things that are personal and valuable to us. So what do you all think will be some of the top 3 issues, legislative pieces as we look towards our communities? And I think honestly, the 3 I foresee are infrastructure. As we look at roads, high-speed rail throughout the nation, new and improved roads and bridges, and new interstates, climate. We've got to address climate and the use of solar and things like that, and making sure that we rid ourselves of fossil fuels. And then civil and human rights. As we look at the abortion issue, it's not just about abortion. It's about the rights and abilities that we use and cherish every day, and those being taken away from us. So, Julius, what do you see as the top 3?
Well, voting rights is number 1, because if you can't vote, you can't change nothing. We can cry and all day long, but if you can't vote, you can't change nothing. You can make a little dent somewhere by yourself in a corner somewhere. But I was trying to tell my little cousin last week, if you can't vote, you can't change nothing. And we can't complain about what's going on around us because you didn't vote to try to change it, and you didn't advocate in any type of way to get other people to come out and help you to change it. And then you have abortion rights. Abortion rights is the other thing. With abortion rights, you have the government trying to tell people what they can and they cannot do, with their own bodies. And they shouldn't have that right. They shouldn't have that ability to do that, but they give it, but those are the top 2. We have to be able to put people in place that that are advocating for the least amongst us. The least amongst us. If you're not advocating for the least amongst us, then you shouldn't be in office. There's no reason for you to be in office any place. Because if it's all about you, then you need to get yourself in there.
Alvin Cohen want to offer he's gonna drop off some stuff. He's gonna stop by Sam today. Ace
Yeah.
Hardware, and Alvin's gonna be on the way out there.
Yeah, that's my next door neighbor and one of my mentees coming in and out. They don't see me doing a show, I don't think.
No, look, like that. Look, you see me, I see you. What Medea said, she don't see us. Go ahead, Chris. What's your response?
Well, I think those are amazing answers. I would literally be saying the same things along the lines of, for one, climate change for a fact. There is a rise in solar that's going around, and are getting more in the times where we got to utilize more of the natural energies. I'm not too familiar in the information in depth in that realm, but that is something that I'm starting to learn more about. And just to give an idea to people, starting a climate change nonprofit organization, it was an idea I was given, but just for the people out there, like it's a lot of different opportunities and resources for people trying to do that. Human rights and infrastructure is something that falls close to me a lot. Human rights for a fact involving an abortion aspect and all these things. In the future, I really foresee us having more control over us and not giving so much of that control to external things. And with that, I see more accountability being taken. And I really see progression in every single realm. It may not happen. It's like one of those changes that's just gradually happening. And before you know it, oh, wow, we doing this now. I see that for a fact. And infrastructure, really, if I can just go all the way deep to it, in the schools and the educations and the business systems, for a fact, education system, teaching things that may be more beneficial. I was on this call a few days ago with a few nonprofits, and they was just speaking about the different things that they are implementing in these school systems. And one of them was just a life class, teaching people how to fill out W-2s, teaching people paying something late and paying something early and the difference that can have on your credit. So just more real life things that we use on a daily basis. I see more of these things being implemented within business, education, and politics as well, which is just going to is really giving all of us the tools and more focus on what tools is more important instead of just maybe a tool that we may only use monthly. I see more important things coming down from that aspect. So that's what I can foresee in the future. But I definitely see change and growth in every aspect.
Okay. All right. Well, I know we're about to close out in a moment, but Julius, you want to give a rundown of the weekly shows and things to come? I know we're on Roku, and Chris, you can talk about that, but I definitely want to let people know about the expansion of, we're going from ATR Media to Our Black Media. So if y'all could talk a little bit about that, we'll start with you, Julius.
Well, we got a lot going on, a whole lot going on here with the expansion. We are about to start a newscast. It'll probably be from this same desk right here, the same and from the same background. If we don't roll it up and use a green screen, but there's a lot happening here, and we just need everybody's support to share, and invite people. We're going to be looking. We are already on Roku. If you got a smart TV, you can tune in. If you don't catch the shows here, you'll be able to catch them. You'll be able to catch them on Roku. You can always go back and look at those shows, but from the comfort of your living room, you can watch it on your TV. There's a lot happening. We changed over from ATR to Our Black Media so that we can have some uniformity across all social media platforms. Chris is a big conduit for all of that. He does all our everything. He's the young executive. He started out as our intern, but he's running the company. So that's what we look for in our young people. We pour into our young people, And that's what it's all about, because we're not going to be here. We got to be able to tell our history and let it go from us to people behind us so they can give it to people behind them. And we got to give our talents to and our inspirations to people that's behind us so they can spread that love also. That's the way we keep our community built, because other than that, it's going to be tore down. And they've been waiting on us to just give up for 100 years, for 400 years really. But for the last 100, they've been really waiting on us to give up, and we haven't. And we got to be able to show them that there's other ways to survive, and it starts right here with all of us.
Mhm. Wholeheartedly. Amazingly said. I definitely say shouts out to ATR, shouts out to Our Black Media. It's a plethora of new things that's going on, various for every age range. It doesn't matter. For years, there's been a platform that's been really showing people you can make the best do with no matter what you have, and showing up every time, speaking the information that a lot of us really don't be getting. So for people that's been supporting and has still been aware, very thankful and appreciative for you, because we're not doing nothing but continue to excel. We are on all streaming platforms now. So that's Roku, it's Fire Stick TV, that's all podcasting platforms. So even if you're at work, you're doing your workout or whatever, you can click us on our audio podcast platform and listen to us through your headphones. And just make sure that you're supporting. For businesses, entrepreneurs, people who want brand awareness, we have every show of every lane that you're looking for, whether you're in real estate, financial literacy, food, news, clothing. We got different shows that you can get advertised on. So we are doing open advertisements. And I know you all seen that on the commercial earlier, but for people that really want to get a local push and not just a push of people that may be in Romania that you may not never see, there's really local people that's watching this show, that's on the show on a daily basis. And these are the people that you really want on your side. So for people that really want to get their businesses spread and exposure, Our Black Media is the place. I would advise you to just look for a show that you feel aligns with your business the best way, and go ahead and shoot some at them. It's a lot of different opportunities. We are open for collaborations and any of that. And for people that's my age, don't be afraid to partner and showcase your talents with people. I literally spoke this into existence before I met up with Mr. Hall and Mr. Robin and them. Before I met Our Black Media and started interning, I was planning this in my mind of how I can be able to get to here. And I ended up coming across Mr. Hall and them, and now I'm here. This stuff is real, y'all. Seriously. And it's just a building and growing. So it's just, stay focused, stay attentive, and be open to the people. And for the businesses and entrepreneurs out here, get advertised in front of some real faces. These faces are the ones that you want to have behind you in these meetings, because we the ones who really know what's going on. But I'll leave it with that.
Well, and I don't mean to toot your horn, Julius, but whether you like, a lot of people don't realize that's one example of, hell, if it weren't for you, the East Plus wouldn't have got passed. So just to let people realize,
Man,
the
it's so
authority,
much.
it ain't always TLC and the Savannah Morning News. It's sometimes people out here who understand grassroots, Charlie Browns of the world and all that, who get this stuff done. So
The real power players, people. The real power players. But hey.
Yeah, all we can do is tell you. So any last thoughts, y'all? We're gonna close out. After your last thoughts, we'll start with you, Julius, and then Chris. Last thoughts. So we'll see y'all next week.
Well, I'm just going to say, watch all our shows and share them. Pastor Smalls be on at 6:00. We'll be starting back up with our Sunday shows with Little Known Black History Facts and From the Hood to the Pulpit. We're working on all that and the news. In December, we have our real estate show starting up. They did the pilot. They'll be having their premiere episode pretty soon. The food show starts the first week of December. These interns will be going out doing the taping of the food show. That's all I cater to you with Stephen Anfield.
Wow.
So we got a bunch of stuff that's going on. A newscast Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, hopefully, or Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. We're having 3 days out the week. We have a newscast, a live newscast, just like the CBS Evening News. So there's a lot of stuff that we're doing. We're building. We're doing it on our own. We rely on us because we speak for we. And so, y'all just stay tuned and support us.
All right, Chris.
Yeah, like I said, continue to support our Black media. For people that want to get a chance to see if they want to be able to help, possibly interns or just younger people, you can go to the webpage, that's ourblackmedia.com, and contact the chat box in there. You really get real hands-on experience from this. You can really be in the field with it. So we are open. Just make sure that you got your resume and credentials right there, and we'll be able to meet with you. And yeah, that's pretty much my last thing. I hope everybody have a good one. And Brian for 2023.
There you go. We'll talk about that soon. And Ivan Coleman, we have not forgot about Charlie Brown and Bernard America. America After Dark. Is that tonight, Julius?
I don't know whether he got a live show or whether he got a tape show. He didn't call me.
I'm gonna take over America. You missed one more show, America. Your contract with me. All right, y'all have a great weekend. I'll see you soon, Chris.
All right.
All righty.
Lord, let me get the thing going, y'all.
I like that.